Good evening, all. Ira Epstein, and we are now on Friday, the 31st of March, 2023, about 5:30 p.m. Central Time, going into the weekend. And boy, do we need it. I'm going to sleep tomorrow. Wow, what a time. That's all that I can tell you. We saw the president last night, of course, indicted. Today, they're making arrangements. We're not going to see him in handcuffs, but there will be a mugshot. I don't know if we'll see him in a jail cell or not. Depends how they work all this out. But he still has to be fingerprinted. He's going to have his photo ID taken for all this. It's quite a humiliating thing, and it's quite aggravating, I think. I don't think it says a lot of good things about America. On a scale of 1 to 10, where does this lawsuit fit in compared to, say, the January 6th event? That's a 1 in terms of importance. This is probably a 9 or a 10 as I see it. So he paid a woman that he had an affair with. He says he didn't, but he paid her money, and that's what he's done wrong. He wrote his own personal checks. I'm not understanding what he did wrong, but we'll see. From what I understand, he didn't declare it on his taxes. Don't get it. He's got problems with Melania, that's for sure. She's got to be ready to leave him. I would think so. It's pretty humiliating. And she's dragged through the mud, and she didn't do anything wrong. You know, you got to feel for the woman. All right. So, in a crazy market where we've seen over the past 2.5 weeks, banks collapse, the system supposedly taken to the edge, the stock market comes running back as though there is nothing at all wrong. The gold market, got up to the 2000 level, but it's back down to 1986. The dollar got under 102. It's trying to stick its head back up here. I was expecting some blowback in some of the currencies, and I got it today. That's what I was looking for. We had today in the grain market the new acreage numbers that came out, and we're seeing that there's a shift to corn away from the soybean acreage. I think that's fairly important. On the energy sector, we don't know what's going to happen with the crude oil that comes out of northern Iraq. Is there going to be able to be a deal there, or is that going to be stranded oil? And it could be. There's 450, 500,000 barrels a day. So that has picked this market back up in the Brent towards 80. And of course, we move with that in the same time. Natural gas finally getting a bounce, up 11 cents. That's quite a bit. Short covering for certain at the end of the month is what I think. Now, when we take a look at the S&P on a monthly basis, you're coming up to challenge again the 18-month moving average. You haven't done that all year from 2022, not this year, 2022. And you're getting ready to potentially attack it. If you close over it, I think traders, their jaws are going to drop and they're just going to go, I can't believe this thing's come back this way. That's where I'm looking for the failure. It's only 30 some odd points higher. You finally got over 40, 49, 75. It took today to do it, but that's powerful. So now the bias is shifted back to the upside. I mentioned all week, I thought that would be the battle number. It took a big day today. You're up 136 points, 3.5% on a weekly basis. I said today, on a weekly basis, and you had a strong individual day today. When you look at how the charts are going, you can see that you're approaching resistance again. That resistance level mark off on your chart from 4,300 to 4,350 is the next resistance level. But folks, that's 160 points higher. First, you got to get there to prove that it'll happen. On the chart pattern, you don't have a trend. What you do have is a market that with this week's action, and let's back off here, you had lower highs, lower lows. With the week right now, you get through that high, you negate this whole move. That does not mean you've entered a bull market. You have not. The definition of having an uptrend on a chart is typically higher highs and higher lows. Can you get vertical price moves? Absolutely. Here's one. Each week, a higher high up until right here. You can see that. That's a vertical move. I can see how those come about in their play. This is not a trend, though, not at this point in time. Have you ended a downtrend? Absolutely. That part has ended. Where's the next resistance in terms of moving averages? Well, I'll be a son of a gun. It's right in the areas I told you. Here's the 100-week average. That's coming in at the old high from back here too. So you're right in that area that we talked about, the 4206 level. And that number will probably drop a little bit as we reopen Sunday night. The Bollinger Band's right in front of it at 4185. So if you were sitting next to me and you have a market that's not embedded, it's not overbought either, and you're making your first challenge of a Bollinger Band, I promise you all your friends are getting excited to get long, and I'm giving you an elbow in the rib cage and going, I want you to come out of this market. And you're going to tell me why, Ira. What's wrong with you? I'm going to say it's no different than when you got down here at the height of the panic to the downside. The first challenges of Bollinger Bands, when they're not embedded, often fail. 95% of the time, the market will stay between these bands. Learn to work with them. Learn to work with the first challenge of key moving averages. You see that right through there? You get that too. I teach this in my enhanced Bollinger Band course on our website, iraepstein.com, under education. Take it. Learn to work with this. So going in, I know what I'd be telling my clients, and I know they'll be saying, Ira, you're so wrong. This market's going to run. You don't get it. This is behind the market. The Fed's going to have to lower interest rates, and it's going to keep going. And I'll go, God bless you. I hope you're right. What am I going to say? In the Dow, you're coming into a key resistance area, the 18-week average. Then you've got the 100. Even if you take out 33,590, you would be similar to the other market in the S&P. You'd have a higher high and a lower low. You held the Bollinger Band, went back to the 18-day average, fell back down, got under it, trapped everybody that's saying the world's coming to an end, and we're going to go down to the 30,000 level. And I was the voice of reason, I know it, saying, got to tell you folks, I'd be telling my clients to cover their shorts there, because you rarely stay under the Bollinger Band and you were oversold. In the NASDAQ, I know you're going to again tell me how strong the NASDAQ is, and it's going to keep going. I hope for your portfolio it does, all right? But from my portfolio, I have an overbought market, at least the chart is that way, a market that has got 2 weeks of running the upper band, and it's about to hit a major inflection point of the 100-week average. No, I don't think it's going to keep going. And no, I am not predicting a top. I'm just saying the guys that caught this play are going to take money off the table. I don't see a trend. In the Russell, this is the bear market. Oh, there I am again with that bad word because everything's rallying. Lower highs, lower lows, but you're coming into key resistance here. So will the pros give it a shot? Well, they will if during the week you're above, say, 31, 32 in this number. When you're under 30, the way I teach in my full charting course, you're oversold. I do not believe that oversold markets attract new selling. Embedded ones do. And that is when the K and the D line, the red and the blue, get and stay under 20 for a long period of time or above 80 for a period of time. I teach all that in my course. I define the periods of time, and away you go. Right now, this market on a weekly chart does not like to embed. That's the first thing. Second thing, that is your resistance point. Third, okay, we'll see if the market goes anywhere from there. But given that the other markets are coming into resistance, I would think this will. Could there be a rotation where people dump the NASDAQ and dump the Dow, if I'm right, and the S&P, and they want to buy the Russell stocks? It could be. But I do think the pros will look at it at 1848. They won't want to see the market over 1936.90. For you, that's too big of a dollar risk to take a trade. I mean, at the end of the day, charting is wonderful, but you set parameters for dollar risk because you have to assume things won't work. So if you assume they won't work, what can you afford so it doesn't affect you mentally, financially in a big way? If you're a trader, you know you're going to have losses. If you don't, there's something seriously wrong. You are the richest guy in the world. And there are people out there that do exceptionally well, but you're probably that guy. I am not that guy, all right? I wish I were, but I am not that guy. I am a guy that looks at the charts and has his share of losses. I also am a guy that has his share of winners. Take it from there. I look at the market, that's where I'm seeing the resistance. In the bond market, seems to me that you're caught visually in the high and low of the Bollinger Band. You're overbought, you've had a rally up to it, and you're having trouble continuing the rally. In the 10-year note, you've gone from the upper Bollinger Band to the lower Bollinger Band, back to the upper Bollinger Band, without being able to catch a trend. These are vertical moves that aren't giving you any pause in them or anything like that. That takes traders, and they'll get as gray as mine is. By the way, you like the haircut? I saved up. I went today and got it done. I feel so pretty. In the dollar index, we're down to the lower Bollinger Band. Now, we had a failure right up here in this outside day. When you took it out, the potential was if you take it out and you get under the 18-day average, if you take my outside trading day course, where are we going? And you went there. So now I can see that the momentum's down, the bias is down. I'd like to see a pattern of lower highs, lower lows develop, but I'll talk about that in a special report when I do the dollar index. In the eurocurrency, as bullish as this market nicely came back, take a look at the Bollinger Band. Are you embedded? You're not. When you lost the embedded reading over here, and we'll go to that, why don't we take a look at it and see if I can get the charts. Yeah, there they go. They just take a moment with my magic wand. Come on, give me another one. All right, we're just about there. Here we are. So here you have a market for the first time loses its embedded reading. In other words, both numbers aren't over 80 anymore after spending time doing that. Often, very often, the market will make a run to the closest moving average after it. I'd be wrong in my thinking, and you always have to have a wrong if you get over the most recent high on the chart. So what the market next does is the market starts its decline. People don't believe it. And down here, all it did is get neutral. Now what's going on is you have a market that's no longer overbought. No, as long as either number here is over 70, it's overbought. Now it's not overbought. So I'm looking for a market to regroup at this point. It's had a vertical price break of size. Now what's it going to do? Well, just stop right here. This is March 17th, so that's 2 weeks ago. If it rallies, I've got a lot of resistance up here. I have no reason to be long at this point. I have plenty of reasons to do nothing. Just honest. Market gets its rally on the 24th. As far as I'm concerned, that was one heck of a lucky rally. We know what we were dealing with in the banking. Dollar's having its issues, and the market's now trying to figure out what does it do next. So let's assume, for the sake of discussion, the market gets up and closes over not this week, but last week's high of 109.83. Well, that's certainly bullish. You'd have then higher lows, higher highs, but you'd be over the upper Bollinger Band. Is there a magic to that? There really is. Only 5% of the time does it stay out of the bands. That does not mean you're going bearish. You're waiting for something else to come about. That isn't it. Could the market keep going? In fact, get up to the 112? It could. But on that pattern alone, would I be telling my clients to buy? I can be honest with you, no. I'll look elsewhere. Because just sitting right in front of you is the algorithm and all the facts behind it. And this is what it's going to do. I'll wait. In the Canadian dollar, 3 weeks ago, you got down to the Bollinger Band. Out you go. Oversold market, and now you've come back to neutral territory. You have a higher high, lower low. The currency markets are not throwing out just yet specific trends. I happen to be in the camp that believes the dollar will end up in a bear trend. Why? Because I think the Fed is closer than ever to getting into, after another rate hike, maybe two, a pause in the market. I don't think they want to break the banking system. I think that they are looking for the excuse to say maybe we have to look at things. Now, today's PCE numbers that came out gave the Fed a pause idea, all right? The number didn't pick up and move out to the upside again, but it's not breaking, it's sticky. And that's what I told you 5 months ago was going to happen. I said, do not buy into what everybody's telling you that inflation's going to come tumbling down as long as labor stays strong. Hurt the labor market, I think everything tumbles. Do I think you can hurt the labor market right now? No. Is there a huge report on labor coming out? Yes. When? Hi, Ira. It's Friday. Next week, we get the jobs report. I'm pretty sure it's Friday. Uh-oh. I think that really sets a tone. So I will say the elephant in the room that week, in terms of economic data, U.S. jobs report. Japanese yen, lower highs, lower lows. Now, Bloomberg wrote me, and they want me to do a report for them that will be published as one of these podcasts that they put out. And it'll be on the end that they want me to do it. And I already know what I'm going to say, but I won't share that with you. You got to tune into that. In Bitcoin, lower and low, higher high. Now, I made a mistake. I was talking and having the June. It's not the June. You got to move to the April. One of my good customers reminded me, Gordy, I won't give you his last name, reminded me. He's so right. There's no volume in the June. Yet I looked at the chart and I saw the bars and I realized, what are they trading? 100 contracts a day? It is the April that you want to go. I set up my charts here to automatically move to the next month. And for whatever reason, it thought the last month already occurred. It put it 2 months ahead. That's all. Computer glitch. It's okay. He caught it. Didn't matter. You're overbought. Trying to embed, not there yet. Okay, I'm impressed though. I am real impressed. This market acted great on the break. It held, by the way, where did it hold? Let me think, is the word Bollinger Band, BB. Tell me about that. Down here, you went sideways back into the 18-week average, back down, and then you moved up. Now, you're fighting the upper Bollinger Band here. Would I ever tell a client to buy a Bollinger Band to go higher? It's never going to happen. Is this the first move in a while over the 200-week average of closes? Absolutely. Is the market vulnerable because of that? Yes. Is there a reason to be short? None. Am I clear? None. I don't care if it would just collapse, but being long is difficult. Brent versus WTI rolled over from the 18-week average of closes. It puts that, when it's under that, it means numbers should get smaller. So the differential between WTI and Brent should get narrower, and it's exactly what it's doing. This market was, last summer, $11.50 roughly difference. Now you're sitting here tonight at $4.10. When you look at the market, you got down to the Bollinger Band, you hit the first challenge of the 200-week average. What do? Out you go. That does not mean you're bullish. I'm not interested in the bounce. I'm interested that if one were short, that's where they're coming out. And Joe, are you listening, Joe? JB, your initials. Market comes down, hits the 2, and that was your opportunity. That doesn't mean you won't have another one. But our energy secretary, that wonderful woman, she's not ready to buy anything this year. Why did they say that? I can't get away from it. Why did they say it in October if they weren't doing it? Did they not know? Come on. She's the energy secretary. She had to know maintenance was coming if that was it. What changed between then that they don't have the money to do this? That doesn't make sense. Why are they still going to sell out of the strategic reserve and not do a wash sale? Buy it yourself and keep those 26 million barrels. I don't get it. If you can figure it out, write us. Enlighten all of us. In gasoline, I think we're there. Now, I admit we are in sideways action. I think you're going to resolve this by breaking out to the upside of that. The trend is up. The bias is up. The market momentum, though, is over 70. That's dangerous. Support's back at 245, but I think the spring, summer wanting to go higher in fuel is here. So I'd pay very close attention to that. You put it all together, and I told you what I'm going to try to do. I'm going to give you the special report in the dollar index. So it's a currency report you're going to get. It's going to have trend and chart analysis. You're going to have a lot of different analysis to work with. I'm going to give you price counts, I'm going to give you seasonals on the market. Price counts are interesting because you just finished an upside count and you've just activated some downside. We'll talk about some of the world events. We're going to talk about why the seasonals work at this year, the weekly charts, the daily charts. You like it? You go to our website and you give it a click. Up here, you can also do it. You'll be able to click up through here and get there. However, when you do so, the report may not be there. I'm telling you, and listen, I am shooting this right now on Friday night. I'm not certain I'll have the report done tonight. At the very latest, it'll be done first thing in the morning. Remember, I'm an early riser. It will be done. And I think you'll like what you see there. If you have any questions, give me a call. If you're on my mailing list, when I put out the report, you will get an email that it's out there and published. I'm Ira Epstein. You have a great day. I will talk to you all come my next reports that'll come out right after this one and or Monday morning. Take care.